What's going on, everybody? David here, back with another video. Today we're going to talk about if you are a beginner in the rewards credit card game, we're going to have a little talk. But first off, on this channel we talk about inspiring people to travel more using points. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the little bell notification so you can get future updates on my videos. Okay, so this is for beginners or people you might have a couple of credit cards already, but you really don't know exactly what you're doing, your strategy. That's what we're going to talk about today. I've been off for about a week, so about 6 days since I posted my last video, and I got sick last week, and I was only sick for about two and a half days, and that wasn't the issue. The issue was after I started feeling better, I lost my voice, and so I couldn't talk. And so if you can't talk, it's kind of hard to do these videos. So anyway, let's go ahead and talk about this. So when it comes to travel reward credit cards or reward credit cards, cashback cards, there's so many out there, and there's so much advertisement that you see on TV when it comes to ventures, so Capital One cards, Chase, American Express. Which ones do you get? So which card do you get? I like to tell people, especially if you're starting out, keep it simple. And even when you have cards, you still want to keep it simple. Like even if you've been doing this for a while, you still want to keep it simple. You can really overcomplicate this when it comes to these rewards credit cards, because there's so many different ways that you can redeem points and earn points and all that. And it can become a full-time job, just trying to figure out how to maximize everything. Now, in most situations, you do want to maximize as much as possible, but sometimes you can't avoid that. Some of the situations you might be in a situation where you can't be flexible, so you're going to have to spend a little bit more points when you fly out of an airport at a certain time. So sometimes you can't maximize, and you just have to kind of roll with that. But let's go ahead and talk about beginners. So when you're just starting out getting rewards credit cards, or even before you get the cards, just your thought process, what card should you be looking at? So I always tell people there's 4 major credit card issuers that you want to focus on when you're starting out. Capital One, Citi, American Express, and Chase. Those are the 4 that you should focus on, because you can build an ecosystem around 3 of those. And then Capital One, they have some different cards that you can get. I wouldn't really call it an ecosystem, but Capital One cards are good, especially if you have bad credit. You can start with a Capital One secured credit card, and then work your way into the venture card. And if you have a business, get a Spark card. So that's a good option, especially if your credit is not at a high level, 750 or above. Then you can look at some of these Capital One venture card and stuff like that. But when it comes to the other cards that are out there, the Chase cards, the American Express cards, the Citi cards, those are all good ecosystems. And it's just going to come down to which one you select as far as how you want to go about it. So you don't have any credit cards right now, you're looking at getting credit cards. I always recommend going with Chase. I like Chase. I have Chase to this day, and that's what I focus my points on, my Chase ecosystem. So I always recommend Chase first. They have a 524 rule, and that basically means that within a 24-month period, you can only have 5 new credit card accounts. And so and that's across the board. So it could be Citi cards, American Express, Venture, the Venture card, so Capital One, all these different card issuers and all these different cards. You can only have 5 new accounts in a 24-month period. If you have over that, they're not going to allow, or once you get to 5, they're not going to allow you to get any cards. So Chase will not allow you to get any cards with them. So that's very important when it comes to your strategy, because if you don't start with them and you go with, let's say you go with Citi and you get the double cash card, and then you get the Citi Premier and the Citi Prestige, well, that's 3 cards already. And now you're getting close to that 524, and so you won't be able to get any Chase cards for 24 months at that time. So I always tell people when you're starting out, look at the Chase cards, give them a look, do your research, if it works. And some of the things that I look at when it comes to the cards, I look at sign-up bonuses. So I look at all the cards that are across the line, and I try to plan it ahead. So if I want to get, let's say, 5 cards in the first couple of years, then I look at the sign-up bonuses, the current sign-up bonuses. I do a lot of research on the transfer partners because they come in, they're really important. If you want to travel, you want to make sure that you get some transfer partners that you're happy with. So I look at that as well. I also look at the ways that I can redeem points. So you might be in a situation where you want to get cash back, or you want to get gift cards, or just different things like that. So I also look at that. I also look at long-term earn possibility with the credit card. So I'm not just looking at the sign-up bonus. I want to know, is this a card that I can have for years to come and still use that card for my everyday purchases, like going out to a restaurant eating, or going to a grocery store and things like that. So I'm looking at that as well. And then I look at the branded credit cards, like the hotel branded credit cards, the airline branded credit cards. I want to build an ecosystem where I can get some of those cards too, because I might like to fly on United. So I want to get that United credit card, but does that card work with the ecosystem that I have? So those are other things that I look at. So there's a variety of different ways that you need to go about when it comes to getting these credit cards. There's a variety of different things that you need to think about beforehand, and then go ahead and start getting those credit cards. Because once you get a credit card, I tell people this all the time, once you get a credit card, you're going to want to keep that card, and either keep the card or downgrade it, but keep the account. So you want to keep that credit limit. That's very important. So what I'm saying is, if you make mistakes early on, then first off, you need to find out if they have a downgrade path. And that's another important thing, because some cards you'll get, some credit cards you're going to get, they're going to have an annual fee, and they're not going to have a downgrade path. So you'll have the card, but you're not going to be able to downgrade it to something else. So you're stuck paying that annual fee. And then that's when you're in a situation where it's like, you know what, maybe I should cancel this card, which you really don't want to do. But if you have to, you have to, right? You don't want to pay a $95 annual fee every year if you're no longer using the card. So it's very important to look at those paths too. Do I have a downgrade path with the card? So other things to look at. So the cards that I would recommend when you're first starting out, if you want to go with the flexible points, and flexible points, just like I mentioned, Capital One, the Chase cards, Citi, and American Express. Those are giving you the flexible points. And when I mean flexible points, they have transfer partners. You can transfer your points to these partners and use it for airfare, hotel, and things like that. So that's what you want to focus on. So the cards that we're looking at, the Capital One Venture card, I think, is an excellent card for beginners. It's simple. You get 2 points for every dollar spent on all purchases. So you don't have to think about, am I going to get 2 points for every dollar spent on this purchase, and then 3 points for every dollar spent on this purchase? Which categories? Because when you first start out, you're not going to know the different categories. You're not even going to think about it because it's not a normal everyday thing. So you're not going to automatically know which card to pull out to maximize your earn with the card. So with Capital One Venture card, it's great because across the board, 2 points every dollar spent. You don't have to think about anything. So that's good. You also get the global entry. So you get global entry credit. So that's once every 4 years, which is another huge benefit if you want to travel, because it allows you to kind of you get expedited through the line when you go through the checkpoints at the airport. So that's good. So the Venture One card, I think, is an excellent choice for beginners. I also like the Chase Sapphire Preferred card. I think the Chase Sapphire Preferred card got a little stronger in the last couple of months, just because of the Chase Sapphire Reserve raising their annual fee from $450 to $550. And so now the Chase Sapphire Preferred, people are looking at it a little more now, because it becomes a real good option, because they haven't changed anything yet, which I'm hoping that in the future they do make some changes with their card. But it's good because it's a good card because it gets you into that Chase ecosystem, and you still get some of the perks that you would get with the Chase Sapphire Reserve, like the primary car rental insurance and things like that, some pretty good travel insurance as well. And you don't have to pay that hefty $550 annual fee. And also, you're going to get the 60,000 sign-up bonus, which is good. Right now, that's a pretty good sign-up bonus. So real good transfer partners, and they have a good travel portal too. So the Chase Sapphire Preferred, I think, is still a great card for beginners. Now, when it comes to Citi and American Express, some of those cards are good. I think American Express has some decent cards. You could look at the American Express Green card. I think that's a real good card. It's comparable to what you would get with the Chase Sapphire Reserve without the lounge access and some of those other things like that. But it does give you some pretty good earn possibility with the card, and then you can build into that ecosystem. But like I said, I would start with Chase and go that route. Now, for me, I actually started with Citi, and then I quickly left Citi, or I won't say left Citi, but I quickly moved on from Citi and started getting some Chase cards. But the first card that I got was the Citi Premier card, and it was a pretty good card, but I didn't know what I was doing. So I pretty much got my points, and I did some bad transfers, transferred over to Virgin America, lost half my points in that transfer because you don't always transfer one-to-one. So I didn't realize that. And so made a few mistakes, but I was able to rebound because when Alaska Airlines bought out Virgin America, then I was able to transfer my points over to Alaska Airlines, and then they gave me a bonus. And that bonus pretty much got me back to 50,000. So that was good. But when it comes down to Citi, yeah, Citi is decent. They have the double cash card, which I think is a great card. They have the Premier card, which is great. And then they also have the Citi Prestige card. So you can build an ecosystem around them too. But I would say beginners, look at that Venture card. Venture now, or Capital One now has transfer partners, so that's good. And they also have an eraser tool, which will allow you to pretty much use your card and for anything, for any type of travel purchases, which is good. But when you're using the eraser tool, you're not going to maximize when it comes to your points. When you're using your points, the value is going to be a lot less than it would be if I transferred my points out to one of the transfer partners. So the two cards, the Venture card and the Chase Sapphire Preferred, those are the two that I recommend for flexible points. So we've talked about the flexible point cards. Now I want to talk about some of the other cards that are out there that you might want to consider. Now these aren't flexible points, but these are cards that are either airline branded credit cards or hotel branded credit cards, and I think they give you some really good options. The first card I want to talk about is the United Explorer card. I think the United Explorer card is an excellent card for beginners. You get the global entry, so every 4 years you get that credit for global entry, which I think is really good. And then you're going to get 2 points for every dollar spent on airfare. The earn possibility on the card is not the greatest. I'll tell you that right off the bat. But you still have a few categories that you can work with that will make it a good learning process. And then you also get club access. So you get 2 passes. So kind of you can dip your feet into the lounge access with United Lounges, and so you can kind of see what you've been missing all these years when it comes to lounge access. I think lounge access is really something that is underrated for most of us because we never used them back when we first started traveling. And then once you do start using these lounges, then you realize, hey, this changes your whole perspective when it comes to travel, because now I don't have to worry about getting to the airport at the last minute. That was my old routine. Get to the airport, very last minute. That way I don't have to sit in the terminal and go and buy expensive food and all that kind of stuff. But with lounge access, now you have access to, in some cases you have access to food. You always have access to beverages. So there are a lot of ways to save money just by going to a lounge. So that's something to consider too. So the United Explorer card, that's one that I recommend for beginners. Also, the World of Hyatt card. I think the Hyatt program, when it comes to hotel branded credit cards, I think the Hyatt program is very, very good. And for beginners, the World of Hyatt card is probably the best card for beginners. Now, there are other cards that are out there. The American Express Aspire card, I think, is by far the best hotel branded credit card out there. However, it comes with a hefty $450 annual fee. I didn't talk about the annual fees on all the cards, so let me go over that real quick. So with the Venture card, it's a $95 annual fee. They waive it the first year, so you don't have to pay that for the first year, and then after that, you don't have to pay. The Chase Sapphire Preferred, $95 annual fee for that card. And the United Explorer card, another $95 annual fee for that card. And then the World of Hyatt card is another $95 annual fee. Now, looking at the annual fees, and I know there are some people that are uncomfortable when it comes to annual fees, and I totally understand it. I was the same way. But when you're looking at annual fees, you're trying to see if that card is valuable enough to get. So when I say valuable enough, you're going to get that $95 value out of that card every year. And some cards are easier to do that than others. The United Explorer card is an easy card to get that $95 value because, first off, the global entry. If you've never signed up for global entry before, sign up for global entry. You're going to get that right there. That's a $100 credit. So if you do travel, I think you should consider global entry anyway. So that's you can save a little bit of money there. And then also looking at the check bag. So if I travel maybe twice per year, I get the free check bags as long as I'm flying on United. And so getting the card I would benefit from that, right? So that's another thing, maybe $25 for each way. So you can easily, in 2 trips, you can easily get your bags taken care of. And that's if it's just you traveling. Now, if you're traveling with other people, then they also get free check bags up to a limit. I think it's 5 people or something like that. So that's something to think about too. So you just want to make sure every year you can maximize on that and get that $95 annual fee taken care of by using the benefits of the card. The World of Hyatt card, another easy card to hit that annual fee because every year you get a free night. In most situations, a free night at a hotel, pretty much any hotel, especially if it's a major city, is going to be $95 or more. So you can really make out when it comes to that value. So you just need to work those out. Now with a Chase Sapphire Preferred, it's a little different. You are going to need to use some different benefits in order to get the Chase Sapphire Preferred's annual fee down to nothing. The Venture card, like I said, that first year you don't have to worry about the annual fee. So that's good. And then after that, then that's when you're going to really need to work with the card. Now, when I was saying keep it simple, I really mean that. Don't get a bunch of cards all up front. Get one card. You can get one card for the whole year and you're fine. Especially if you only travel maybe twice per year. One card is going to suit your needs. Because with that sign-up bonus, you're going to have 2 free round-trip tickets anywhere in the U.S. And if you want to leave the U.S. and go somewhere else, you might spend maybe $45,000 for a round-trip economy seat. So you only really need one card. So that's something that you should really understand. You don't have to make it complicated. And I've talked to plenty of people. They get one card, then they want to get an every couple of months they want to get a card. Or some people try to double up or triple up, get 3 cards in one day or 3 cards within a week or something like that, and try to move forward with that. You don't need to do all that. You really don't. All you need to do is to get one card and learn how to use that card, maximize that card, and then start looking at some of the different cards that are available. And then that will help you make better decisions because you don't want to just get out and get a bunch of cards and blow the 524 rule. And then now you're looking at, okay, well, now I have to wait. You don't want to do that. You kind of want to do that slow process. I only get cards when I need them. And I base that on my travel needs. So if I'm traveling somewhere and I say, oh, I want to go to this destination, but I don't have enough points in order to do that, and it's 6 months prior to the trip, then I'll look at some of the different credit cards that are out there. I'll do my research, and then I'll get a credit card. I'll get a 50,000 sign-up bonus or 60,000 sign-up bonus, and then that should be plenty for whatever trip that I want to take. So just something to think about when it comes to these cards. You do not have to get a bunch of credit cards, and that's the biggest advice that I can give you right now. Don't get a bunch. Just get one. Just get one credit card. Use that card. Learn how to use it. And then from there, then you can work on getting some other credit cards. But I want to know what you guys think. If you guys are beginners, if you have experience, please post it down below what your strategy is. And if you have any other questions, please post it down below as well. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.